Hey, all right. We are recording. I've got you on my speakerphone so my computer will pick you up. First off, how much weight have you lost?
After the finale, I lost 222 pounds. I started the race at 409. I ended up on the final scale at 187 pounds, 222 down.
You ended at, what was that, 187?
187.
Wow. Wow. So have you reached your goal weight?
My goal weight is actually going to be north of where I'm at today. It's one of those deals where for the show you try and, lose the weight, and so the workouts look, a lot different than what the lifestyle is going to look like going forward for me. I think my happy spot will be somewhere around 205, 210. Feel really, really good about that weight when I was kind of on my way down. Really felt strong. The workouts are going to change for me going forward, and so it's going to, it's not only going to make sense for me to put on some lean muscle and kind of rebuild the muscle frame that I really want to end up with. At the end of this deal, I want to be an athlete again. I want to be a runner. I want to be a triathlete. I want to do things that I was, 9 months ago, I was sitting on the couch dreaming about, and now I've kind of got the body and the ability to go out and accomplish some of those athletic goals that I haven't had since I was in my late teens and early 20s.
Wow, has it only been 9 months?
Yeah, we went onto the ranch. For us, it was end of June, 1st of July. So
Wow.
for us, it was through February. February 4th was the finale, and here we are going into the late February now and into March.
Well, I think I know your answer, but I was going to ask the next question. How did you do it?
There's no one-step process. It was the matter of each and every day you get up and you take the steps you can take. One of the things that I've been telling people since I got home is literally each and every day is a battle. I understand that. Every day has its own problems and its own opportunities. But you've got to have two things you can control are your attitude and your effort. And so each day wake up with the mentality that you're worth it, that you'll work that next step. For me, it was literally having a why that was bigger than my excuses. And so if I would wake up sore the next day, which I did just about every day on the ranch, I had a why that was bigger than that. My family, the promise that I made to my first wife, to the kids, to be there in their in the lives and their futures, and to be there for graduations and weddings and grandkids. Like those were all bigger reasons for me than the excuses that I had to either sleep in or take a half day off or to eat a little looser than I would, on the ranch and those types of things. So once you found a why that is bigger than your excuses, you can do just about anything on a daily basis with the power of that step after step
Right.
after step pounds. The compounding step is so important in the whole process. I went on the ranch, I'm 409 pounds. If somebody would have told me, looking back now, what it would have taken me in sweat and tears and just emotional, raw dealing with emotions, things I hadn't dealt with in the past, just the healing that happened. There's no way I would have said, I can do that. Like, the mountain is too big, send me home. But the reality is that you don't have that one-step process. It didn't take me one step to get there. So it's like, what can I do today? What can I do today so that when I get to the end, I get to do what I want to do? Like, I have to do certain things today. I have a choice to make. And if I do that, I can just make these incremental steps along the way. It starts compounding. You see the dramatic moment on the scale every week, where I've lost 12 pounds or 8 pounds or 15 pounds or whatever it was. The reality is that's hundreds and maybe thousands of steps that week, or hundreds of steps in a day, that added up and show up on the scale 1 week at a time, let alone at the end of the season where I've lost 222 pounds. So it's the idea that you have to take the first step. Whatever that next step is for you is the most important step. Do something for yourself to go in the right direction. When you're sitting on the couch and you're kind of living life neutrally, you're losing. You're going backwards. Listen, I come from a place where I was stuck on the couch, stuck in a rut, thought I felt good about life, and I had no concept of what feeling good was. It'd been 20 years since I've been in real good shape. It had been, 20 years since I had the kind of health that I have today. And so, like, my idea of feeling good pales in comparison to what really feeling good feels like on this side of
Right.
step after step after step.
Yeah, it's been 20 years since I was in shape. I can relate to that. I can relate to that.
I was going to say that one of the stories I tell people is that, like, I walked on the ranch, and again, it's the power of the step. They give us these things to monitor our activity. We wear them 24/7, but one of the things it measures along with calories burned is your step. It's like a pedometer, so it's got literally the steps that you would walk each day, and so you could set goals and daily goals and weekly goals and all that kind of stuff. Well, I set those goals pretty early on, and it was week one, like, I couldn't even walk on the treadmill for more than a few minutes without being winded. I couldn't, like, run on the treadmill week one for more than, like, 20 to 30 seconds without having to jump off. Like, that's where I started. So, I understand when people say, but you don't understand. No, I do. I absolutely do. But you have to start somewhere. At the end of the process, 9 months through this whole journey of The Biggest Loser, I had logged 2.2 million steps.
Yeah.
Again, if that's what it would have taken, I would have said you're crazy. But I literally walked to the moon and back maybe twice. That's 1,100 miles of walking. That it was just one step after another. It was one day at a time. It was doing what I could do today so that I can do what I want to tomorrow.
Yeah. I think of Dole Vet talking about hard work and dedication. And I was going to ask you, that's the next question. Who was your trainer?
I had the great fortune of getting picked by Dole Vet, and I say that because his style, his demeanor, the way his approach to training and really coaching. He's a coach. Like, he is one of the guys that get down in your face and say, David, can you give it to me today? Can I count on you today? Can I count on you at the end of the week? Can our team count on you? And so he's the coach. And so I respond very well to that with my athletic background, having coaches in the past. Like, that to me was the perfect fit. So I couldn't have been more happy getting on the red team and being with the red team.
Yeah, he always comes across as very positive, very upbeat.
Absolutely.
Who would you say, just for the sake of fun, who would you say is the scariest trainer?
Well,
The most intimidating?
So they're all scary because they all push you to do something you're not comfortable with. And so even though their style, here's the deal, you're going to see different styles. You see a Bob who's been with the show from the very beginning, and he's become like a system guy. And so he's like CrossFit and that whole CrossFit system mentality of workouts. Jillian, she's very more boot camp style, more kind of, I'm the drill sergeant, and I'm going to help push you through and kind of kick you in the tail, when you need it type deal. And then Dole Vet is more of a coach, is the way I kind of look at it.
Right.
So really, it's a matter of finding the style that works for you. No style is perfect for everybody, and so, like, I even tell people since I've gotten home, when you're out there talking with trainers, like, interview them, find out what their style is, work out with them once or twice, and see if you respond to that, because each style needs to fit you. You're unique. Your style is unique. The things that motivate you are unique, and so go out and when you're interviewing trainers, figure that part out. That's an important element. Do you look forward to training with that person because they either kicked you in the tail because you're that personality that needs that, or you need the coach to help kind of motivate you along the way and kind of to strengthen you along the way and believe in you along the way, like Dole Vet did with me.
Great. And then I've heard your story before, but for those that haven't, what led you to take the step to audition for Biggest Loser?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of things, but ultimately what happened was, the fall before last, it was a kind of a scary moment for us. I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Right.
I had already been living with, all kinds of other, obesity-related medical issues. And so so this was a kind of a new big diagnosis, and had to learn a whole, lifestyle thing, and it really just kind of scared me. It woke me up. I'm 43 at the time. I've got these three women, these three ladies in my life, my daughters that I needed to be there for, and it was kind of this never moment for me. It was a real wake up call, and so literally last fall I even started losing weight. Then I was almost 450 pounds. So I lost almost 40 pounds before I ever made it to the ranch, and so it was just the idea that, man, this is it. Like, this is my last chance. I have to do something now. Like, I can't wait. And I get through the spring, and I've lost 40 pounds, but I plateau. And in my life, over the course of 20 years, that fade that happened, that slow fade that happened for me, I would have seasons of success where I would lose the 40 pounds, but then something would happen. I would plateau. I would lose the momentum, and then before you knew it, I had gained, 50 pounds. And so I did kind of the yo-yo up thing throughout, those 20 years to where I ended up at 450 pounds. So to me, when I plateaued last spring, I was nervous because I had seen what that had done in the past, and I was at the point where, like, I have to do something different than I've ever done, because the stuff I've done in the past has not gotten me over this hump, and I end up worse than when I started. I can't afford to do that. That's kind of the mentality that I have at that point. And so when the Biggest Loser open call happened, I found out about it. It was like just like a social media post of some sort that I had seen, and I decided, you know what, this is a radical step. This is something I would never do in a million years otherwise. Just very intimidated by the whole thing. To be able to share my story with people would be like ridiculous. To be able to take my shirt off and getting on the scale in front of America, like, there's no way.
Right.
So, but it was, for me, it took all the courage I had at that point to go to this open call. I thought it was going to be a waste of time. I'm number 850 in line. It takes me 4 hours to get through the line. There's literally 1,000 people that go through this process. And you know what? I did it, though. But that was my kind of courageous first step. And I felt like even if I didn't get picked for the show, at least that was a step in the right direction. Maybe I made some connections with a trainer or accountability group or people that I met there that would help inspire me along the way. And so I felt like it was an important step that I had to take. Just be obedient in that first step. And, through that, it was the dominoes kind of started to fall from there. I got called back. I was one of 40 people here out of Oklahoma City that got picked to do a follow-up interview, and that follow-up interview was sent to people out in LA, the executives who looked at the kind of the chunks down videos, and they made a decision on kind of from the pool of people across the country to come out to LA and go through the testing and all of their processes. And, eventually I found myself on the ranch because I was willing to take the first step.
Right. And just so you know, a lot of these answers will be kind of shorter when I type it out, just because of length's sake. If the interview's too long, people won't read it, and so some of these I'll just have to shorten a bit or summarize.
Absolutely.
But I believe I met you via Facebook years ago when you were on staff at Life Church. Tell me about that. What did you do there? And because I'm a networker, and I always come across other ministry people, but refresh my memory as to what you were doing at Life Church.
I worked for Life Church for almost 7 years. I was part of the Edmond campus team. I was the associate pastor for them, and my focus was on the small groups ministry and missions outreach stuff. So I would focus on those areas, but associate campus pastor over here, kind of doing a lot of different other things too as well.
Which campus did you say?
I was at the Edmond campus.
Edmond.
2nd Street at Edmond. Yeah.
Okay. And then tell us about your faith and how it came to play on the ranch, how it came into play on the ranch. And then a follow-up question would be, is the journey just as much emotional as it is physical? Because I know that spending some time with Vet, he tries to find out your story, and you obviously went through a lot of pain and heartbreak. So tell us about your faith and your journey on the ranch.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Those. Let me start with kind of the painful side of the journey. My background is one where like the pain that I hadn't dealt with was really the root cause of my weight gain, and I didn't even see that kind of when I'm in it. But so like my story is the fact that when I was still in college, got married to my college sweetheart. We're 6 months into a marriage, and right before our very first Christmas together, my wife wakes me up in the middle of the night with a seizure. We find out she's got brain cancer, and then so basically these newlyweds who had all of these hopes and dreams of this life, and we career paths and the kids and the dog in the driveway and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like we're fighting for life. So that to me was kind of the beginning of losing myself. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I was there to do whatever I could to help my wife find medical needs, to get she went through the surgeries and the radiation and everything that people go through when they have cancer. We had a choice at that point. Like you go on with life and you let it just steamroll you over. Well, we decided to pick up. We finished school. She went through a period of remission after going through all of those treatments. We got pregnant. We lost our first child in the third trimester, and so it's like at this point in my life, it's like I grew up raised in a Christian home. It's like at this point in my life, I was like, if there's a God, I'm mad at him. Like that's just a real raw emotion that I was feeling.
Right.
At that point in life, nothing was turning out like I thought it was. Literally a couple months later, I'm still wrestling with this whole, God, why are you putting me through this? That was kind of the mentality I had. And we got pregnant again, and I called Jordan my miracle baby because she came along at really the perfect time. I kind of figured out throughout the kind of maturing process and growing process that God doesn't cause these things in our lives. He doesn't cause cancer. He doesn't cause us to lose a baby or any of those things. But what he does is he helps get us through those moments. He never leaves us. He always has that support for us. He's always there holding our hand and waiting for us to really just rely on him fully in the hard times as well as the good times. And so, like, I had come full circle with God, and my faith became very, very important to me because we started this young family. A few years later, my wife, cancer comes back, and ultimately it ends up taking her life, leaving me with two girls from my first marriage at 6 and 4 years old when she passed away. And so, that's when kind of life, I was just numb. I was trying to pick up the pieces and move on. And all through this, like I've lost myself. I've been caring for my wife. I've now got to care for my girls and be strong for them. I swept so many things under the rug. I didn't grieve properly. I didn't deal with things properly, obviously. And so I ended up on the ranch, and I had all of this baggage, all of this real weight of the emotional stuff that I had never dealt with. And to me, the biggest part of the transformation was not what you saw on the outside on the final scale. It was on the inside. What happened to me day by day, week by week. When you're broken down physically day by day on these workouts, you're literally so sore you don't even want to walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You want to just like cry. And so like all of the defenses that would normally be in place to push back emotional feelings or to not deal with things or to not think about things, the noise of our lives, the TVs and the screen time on phones and all that stuff, like all of that's not there. So I'm left with just my thoughts and just asking those core questions of like how did I get here and what were the things that led me to be that way and all of that kind of stuff. And I realized, man, I had a lot of stuff down deep that I was carrying that I had no idea I was carrying. I was a sick guy when I came to the ranch. I was really sick.
Yeah.
I had a lot of baggage, and I tell people all the time, you saw 409 on my jersey week 1, but I had more weight on my shoulders through this emotional baggage than internal transformation was 100-fold more important than the physical transformation. In fact, if a person doesn't get in touch with the root cause or the issue behind the issue, I don't think a person can have full health, full healing. It's the healing part that helps me get to the health. It was, mine is a story of hope, healing, and health, and it's that process that I found so vital to being in a place where I'm the healthiest, both emotionally, spiritually, and in every other way now.
That's awesome. Just thinking about your faith again. I'm thinking, like you said, you don't want to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You're so sore. Did you have times where you cried out to God? And how was your faith tested when you just wanted to give up and quit or go back to the couch? And this goes along with what was life like on the ranch? The stuff we probably didn't see on the cameras.
Yeah, everything we're doing is so difficult. That, if it was easy, everybody would be fit, everybody would be healthy, and so we're doing, just crazy amount of working out. You're trying to recover. You're eating right. You're at the end of yourself every single day, and so to have things in place, like for me, if I didn't have the ability to wake up and just thank God for the day, thank God I made it through that last day. I don't know how I would have done it. I was up in the middle of the night journaling, like all the time, praying for my family who I wasn't in contact with for those 4 months I'm on the ranch. So, there's lots of moments with God in the quiet of the night that I had, tears would fall and joy would happen. And I would look at pictures of my family and read those letters from them occasionally and just, thank God for them, how He brought me to this place of kind of restoration. It was this working restoration that was happening both, emotionally and even spiritually in a lot of ways, but certainly physically as well. And so if I didn't have my faith on a daily basis, if I didn't have, my family pushing me forward with their unconditional love and support, I don't know how I would have made it through the day. And I was lucky in the fact that our team, we were all believers, and so we would go in before every big workout and kind of pray together beforehand. We'd go before the weigh-ins and we'd pray together. We'd meet regularly and pray for each other. We'd have, we couldn't lead the ranch, but we had little church services that I would help lead. And so even all 15 of us would be in there and we'd be doing, these little church services throughout the week. So
that's awesome.
Those are the elements that were very important to me, and seemingly important to everybody there through their journey as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did as far as you know, did Dolvet know of your faith and the fact that you had been on staff at a church? Did that ever come into play? I'm just curious.
Dolvet certainly is a faith-minded guy, and so that's one of the things that really connected with him. He obviously knew really of my story and kind of how I got there. This was a season of second chances, and so my second chance all kind of ties back to losing my first wife to cancer.
Right.
And trying to pick up the pieces from that. We didn't really ever cross the deal where I told him that I was a pastor in the past, but you know what? Here's the deal. That's just kind of who I am. I feel like I'm in ministry no matter where I'm at.
Right.
So, on the ranch, it's that's the ministry of the day. When I'm talking with people, that's the ministry of the moment. So I know that he recognized those things, and I hope that as people watch the show, even if they didn't, even if I didn't rubber stamp it on my face, I hope they saw that I was living life a little differently than most do, or that I had a story that maybe was a little different, or the way I presented it was a little different than kind of the average guy out there. I really hope that it all reflects back to the strength that I have with my faith in God and just the salvation of Jesus Christ.
Awesome. Got I think about 10 more questions, but if we could just if you could just give me some short, quick answers, just for time's sake, just to respect your time and so it doesn't get too long. What was life like with cameras in your face? What's it like to be behind a camera?
With cameras everywhere, there's nowhere to hide. It's you have to become really comfortable with the idea that somebody's always watching, somebody's always listening. Literally, we would, the only respite from the cameras was in the bathrooms. Like they have cameras in rooms for even like overnight stuff. So, getting used to the fact that somebody's watching
Uh-huh.
took a minute, but pretty quick you just kind of start to lose sight of that kind of those people around you, and you're there to kind of take care of business, and so you kind of learn to kind of let that stuff fade to the background and do what you got to do.
Awesome. What was it like the first time you took your shirt off to weigh in front of the trainers and the TV viewing audience? I know as a big guy, nobody wants to take his shirt off.
Listen, I mean, I never wanted to take my shirt off to go swimming, and I have a pool in my backyard surrounded by like a big stockade fence. Like, I didn't even want to take my shirt off for that.
Yeah.
And here I was taking my shirt off in front of the people in the weigh-in, but more than that, I knew that it was going to go out to millions of people on TV. And really, the one thing that the producers told me from the beginning was, listen, that we understand this is it's a hard thing to do, but what you need to realize is that by the time this airs, you're not going to be this same guy. And it was motivation to me to make sure that was the case, that when this airs, even though you see me at 409 pounds, I'm no longer at 409 when you see that. And in fact, I think I was already down 100 pounds by the time that aired.
Wow.
To the public. So, yeah, it was hard watching myself back at 409, but you know what? People didn't. I was worried about the judgment. I was worried about people just, talking about how crazy out of shape I was and how fat I was and all that stuff. But the reality was, man, people are supportive. People want to see you succeed. They want to see you up on that scale. And when I hit that first weigh-in down 38 pounds in a week, it's like people aren't looking at the shirt off anymore. They're looking at the success of that week, and that we can overcome some crazy obstacles and show up on the scale each week if we really put our minds to it.
This is kind of a general question, but I'm curious as to how you would answer it. What was your favorite thing about being on the show as you look back?
For me, honestly, the camaraderie, the friendships that I formed.
Right.
Is, it became a crazy family. We all have in common. We all came there to kind of get our lives back, and so the the idea that I have a group of people who have experienced something I've experienced, but that very few other people have. I have this built-in support group going forward, this family that I'm going to be able to count on for forever in this journey. Because even off the ranch, even being where I'm at today, like successful and I made it and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, every day's a fight. Every day's it's still an issue. If I don't command the day, if I don't have control over my daily agenda with working out, eating right, and have the right attitude and apply the right effort every day, I can find myself back at 409 again.
Right.
It's a daily battle, and when we battle in life, like as Christians, I think we have to surround ourselves with these people that are supportive of the cause. Bigger than the idea, bigger than ourselves. None of us can fight alone, and that's one of the things I had to learn. I tried to do it all alone, and I needed the help of the ranch, and I needed the help of a trainer, and I needed the help of doctors and nutritionists and all of these professionals that were behind the scenes helping me learn about health again and learn about feeling good again. And as Christians, we isolate far too much. We need the support of other followers in our lives, the voice in our lives. Help us identify those blind spots in our lives and keep hold our back. And so I would definitely encourage anybody out there that if you're trying to do it solo or if you think you got it all figured out, man, you're just fooling yourself.
Yeah. And that leads me to the next question. Which competitor would you say you're closest to? Who did you really bond with?
Without a doubt, it was Rachel from day one. We literally sat side by side from the very first moment. We went in groups of 8 to kind of sell ourselves as a potential to the show, and the trainers had a voice in who was picked for the show. So when I sat down to kind of sell myself 90 seconds, it was one of those deals where like Rachel's to my right and I'm right there. We did that together, and we're all the way through the end. We're on the same team together. We're on the scale 1 and 2 just about every week. We're like number 1 or number 2,
Yeah.
and number 3. And so like Rachel and I became very close, very friendly and competitive, but competitive in a supportive way. Like we pushed each other to the nth degree, and so I really identified with her as kind of my ranch daughter. I was kind of her ranch dad, and so we kind of had that bond, that relationship all the way throughout. And at the end, here it is, me and Rachel 1-2 again, and I couldn't have been prouder of her and her accomplishments. If I was going to lose to anybody, it was going to be to her.
And didn't she almost win every single challenge? I mean, she was quite the competitor.
Very competitive, yeah. She was an Olympic level swimmer she won 3 state championships. So and she's 24, so she's very athletic, and honestly, that was a very important part of my journey, is learning again what that how that athlete thinks and how that athlete trains. And she is so fresh from kind of that lifestyle for her. She still thinks that way, and so it clicked in for her immediately, and she started day 1 kind of re-engaging that athlete. And for me, it was like that was 25 years ago that I was the athlete, so I had forgotten how to think like that. And so she helped push me in just my thought patterns about what it takes to train like a champion, what it takes to push yourself on a daily basis in practice so that you could show up on game day, and for us, that's the scale. And so I learned a lot, kind of relearned a lot from working out with her. She was a beast. Yeah, she was winning a lot of competitions, and she again every week it was her and I on the scale that was typically the kind of the 1-2 punch every week.
Awesome. There may not be anything. It was a question I thought of. Are there some things that the cameras caught that you wish had made the cut as far as editing, things that didn't show up on the TV show that you were hoping would have shown up?
I mean, the reality is they take 10,000 hours worth of video each week, and they get to use about an hour of it. So,
right.
Of course, there's probably some good stuff that didn't make the show that I would have been happy with, but honestly, it wasn't about that for me. It was like, for me, it was this journey of really finding myself again and finding ultimate health, and so I just kind of kept my head down and kept the process in front of me, and the show and how it was put together was really secondary to the story that I was out there building.
Now, two questions. One, did you watch the entire season on television, and were there some things that surprised you when you saw it on TV?
I was able to watch the season. Of course, I was still on the ranch by the time the show aired, so I had to once I made it through kind of the final week on the ranch for us was the end of October, so I think I missed the first 2 or 3 episodes, but got to come home and the family had DVR'd them, and so they were happy to rewatch those things with me. So I did get to see the entire season with them, in fact, which was kind of cool. What was the second part of the question, Greg?
Are there some things that surprised you? Maybe an interview with another competitor or something somebody said, something that surprised you when you saw it on TV that maybe you weren't aware was going on or had happened?
No, I think in seasons past you probably saw some of that competitive stuff, but we were so close as a group from day one. We really supported each other, and I hope that came through in the show. I wasn't really surprised by anything that aired, anything that was said. I mean, what you see is the authentic, like those are the people. Like they can only put on the show what we give them to put on the show, and so any conversations or any of that stuff, even if it was slightly taken out of context, really you behind the people along the way.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking, what was the name of the guy who was the number 3 in the top 3 with you guys?
At the very end, Bobby.
Bobby. It was amazing his story of being voted off and then earning his way back on and making it into the finale. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Sure.
Did that inspire you? For him to have been
Yeah.
sent home and come back?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way you see, Bobby's journey unfold, where he was sent home 1 week, but literally because of his hard work and dedication, had an opportunity, a second chance to make it back on the ranch, and he earned his way back. And so, he fought each and every week after that and found himself in the finale just like Rachel and I did. And so, I love that Bobby, always put in maximum effort. He showed up at the end, and I think it just shows that you're never out of the game, and that kind of is a metaphor for life. Like, don't think that one moment where you're kind of taken out is the moment that defines you. It's the moment that you get a second chance is the moment that defines you. Have you continued to put in the daily work that will show up on the scale? Like, everybody, here's the deal. Like, Greg, everybody wants the end result, but very few people are willing to do the work that it takes to get the end result.
Right.
And so what in Bobby's story is that he went home and continued to work. He wasn't promised a chance to come back. He went home and did what he needed to do, and he got that opportunity. I think we always seem to get the opportunities we're ready for in life. And so, it's like, what opportunity are you ready for in life if you're not doing the stuff that nobody sees? If I didn't work out off camera 5-6 hours a day, you wouldn't see on camera me losing 38 pounds in a week.
Right.
It's the stuff you do daily behind the scenes, off camera, without other people noticing, that is going to show up in the big results that you really want.
That's awesome. So after you made the final 3, how long were you at home?
We came home end of October, and we were in the finale. The live finale was February 4th, so I guess we were home, was that 3 months, 3.5 months, something like that.
Okay. Let me just type that up. 3.5 months. So what was your strategy leading up to the finale when you were on your own and you didn't have Dolvet?
Well, I mean, I always had access to every resource that I had on the ranch, so I was a phone call away or a Skype call away from all those guys. In fact, Dolvet helped me put together my daily plan or my weekly plan. I would check in with him all the time about where I was at with my training or calories or weight or any of that kind of stuff. The show put together these conference calls weekly where we would check in with each other and help support each other. We would have nutritionists. We would have psychologists if we needed help with certain issues. We would have the ability to talk to our doctors back there, the athletic trainers if we had recovery issues that we needed to work through or equipment issues we needed to work through. And so, we had this group of people that we could contact at any moment along the way to help support that final journey that we had at home.
Cool. And were you happy with the results of the finale? Obviously, everybody goes into it wanting to win.
Obviously, I was there to win. Nobody. I mean, I didn't go there to win second place. At the end of the day, though, I gave it my all. I didn't take a day off. I never took a day off from the first day I stepped on the ranch. And so I have such great. I'm happy with the effort that I put in. I couldn't have done any more than I did. I literally feel like I left it all on the table.
Yeah, you looked great at the end, man. It was awesome. I posted on your Facebook wall that you look like a Marine. Once you shaved that beard and you could see the muscles in your face and the short haircut, you reminded me of a Marine. It was a sharp look, man.
Well, I tell you what, when I shaved that beard, Greg, I had it had been a long time since I saw myself with a jawline, so it was weird.
Yeah. Um, I, Coming down the home stretch, it seems like you are a hero and role model to millions around the world now. What is that like, and do you feel unusual pressure to keep the weight off? And I equate it to kind of like if Jared at Subway, what would happen if Jared were to gain all his weight back? What would that do to
Right.
Subway? And so, with you representing the Biggest Loser, do you feel an unusual amount of pressure to be that role model and to keep the weight off, or is it more just about your personal journey? What's that pressure like?
Man, Greg, you know what? I feel, honestly, what I feel is complete gratitude to have the opportunity that I have, to be able to have made the impact that I made, and have so many people connect with certain parts of my story and be inspired to do something themselves. Like, that's the best part of this whole thing for me. When I left the ranch, listen, I fought way too hard to get to where I'm at today, to ever want to go back. I have fresh memories of all of the pain that it takes to get to where I'm at today. So there's no way I'm going back. If anything, I feel good, positive peer pressure to stay healthy. But more than that, I feel the pressure to stay healthy for myself, for my family, to know that I've already fought that fight and I've overcome those obstacles, and there's no way I would ever want to go back to the guy I was before. He was sick. He needed help. He was emotionally unavailable in a lot of ways. He was not the best dad. He was not the best husband. The guy that stands here is the best I've ever been in really every way, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Like, why would I ever want to go back again?
Yeah, yeah. You are at Stronger by One on Twitter. What does Stronger by One mean, and where did you come up with that?
Stronger by One is it's really the One Stronger brand, and so like Stronger by One is my Twitter handle, but you know let me try to explain this to you, and you can put it however you want it in print.
Sure.
OneStronger.com is my website. One Stronger.
Yeah, that's my next question. As I checked out OneStronger.com.
Yeah, and it's being redesigned, so like I'm still not even sending really a lot of people there. I'd rather connect people through that text service that I'm sending out tips and tricks and all that stuff. Texting One Stronger.
Right.
To 44622. I think I sent you that information. So
yeah, I signed up for it this morning.
Yeah, and so like the idea is the power of the step. We're one workout stronger. We're one mental shift stronger. We're one healthy choice stronger. We're one healthy meal stronger. We're one day stronger. We're one weigh-in stronger. Those are the. It's just this mentality of the step, the goal, the challenge in front of you. How can you take a step in the right direction and create by the second step and the third step some sort of a positive momentum in your life? And what that does, the residual effect of that are so it just overwhelms other parts of your life that you didn't know were issues. Like when you're healthy and you're feeling good about yourself, your relationships are better. You're a better employee. You're a better boss. You're a better dad and husband. You're a better wife or daughter. You're just better in everything when you're feeling healthy, when you're feeling good about yourself, when you've got that positive momentum in your life. And every part of that speaks to the One Stronger mentality. And that's why the One Stronger brand is important for me going forward, because that's my message. That's my message of hope, healing, and health. Literally one step at a time.
Now, one thing I could do is, whenever you want, link people to OneStronger.com. When do you expect that to be redone? Because I can wait a while.
It's probably a 2-week process. It's kind of what they're telling me.
Okay.
So I don't know when you guys are going to come to press, but I think maybe by the time you guys go to press on this deal, it might be okay to put that in there.
Yeah, we're about 2 weeks out anyways, so that's fine.
Then definitely put that on there. I'm connecting a lot of people through the Facebook fan page as well, but it's kind of got the long, the Facebook URL that is not real friendly to people. So I'm trying to connect people through the text service. It's a free service, and I can help send people links or videos or any of that kind of stuff, and get people connected to Facebook pages and websites and Twitter handles and all that stuff. So you can put all that stuff on there if you want, but really the one thing I would want people to walk away from is that free text service that I can help connect people.
Sure. What are you doing now for work?
I'm still involved with the roofing and construction here locally. I'm connecting a lot of people and helping a lot of people that way. But it's like there's this whole other, thing that started, this career that started. I'm being booked for speaking engagements all over the country, youth, from youth through small groups, through churches. But I'm also working with companies and bringing my motivational message to. When I'm happy, honestly, I'm very happy that I have the ability to speak to secular audiences, probably as much or more so than even the church audiences that I was really used to speaking to before. And I love that the idea of that. I've been actually invited to go speak to a conference of atheists here at the end of the year.
Wow.
Do you believe it? So I've got these great opportunities to go share my message and to share my story, which ultimately is the gospel. And it always comes to me. It's always going to come back to being the living gospel. The faith that I have it's every part of who I am. But I want to go out with a message of hope, healing, and health. And if that connects people back to the source of those things in me, all the glory God Himself.
Awesome. And this goes along with the next question. I noticed that you're reading Platform by Michael Hyatt, which is a book I love. And I was going to ask, how do you want to use your platform now? And I wrote down hope, healing, and health. Is that kind of your message?
That is my message. Yep, that's exactly what I want to help people realize is that with just a little bit of hope and the ability to find healing with whatever the root cause of the issue was and really kind of dig into that side of it, the hope that comes out on the other side is much more than physical health. It's much more than, mental health. There's so many components that are regarding the healing of our lives that will help us with our ultimate health.
And then last question, I hear you're writing a book. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm writing, actually I've got a couple of books that I'm writing simultaneously, and they speak to my story, my life story. They speak to my journey up and through, going through The Biggest Loser and on the ranch, and the lessons that I learned week by week there. The things that I found to be indispensable in kind of finding yourself again. I'm getting ready to have to hit the road. I've got a lunch appointment here that I got to be able to drive to. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up really, really, really quick here. But the story of my life and really kind of this journey of hope, healing, and health that I found through the 15 weeks on the ranch and what I learned week by week there.
Awesome. Well, we will wait for your new website to go live, and then point people to it, and because we're digital and people can just click on the link. And is there anything else at all that you want me to add? I've got the text number. Anything else you want us to cover or mention to people?
You know what? I don't think so. I mean, I just hope that people get beyond a step. The feeling of inspiration. That's one of the things I was going to tell you, kind of off air or whatever, was that I was one of those guys that would watch the show every year, and I would be inspired by people, and I would be inspired in the moment. But ultimately, that never led to the lasting change. And so, what I would encourage people with is quit being inspired and stopping that. If the inspiration doesn't turn to some sort of an action, if it doesn't turn to some sort of a goal, then really what's it matter? If all you guys got was inspiration from me this year, but it didn't affect you to get off the couch, then I wasted, my story was wasted on you.
Right.
And I don't want that to sound arrogant or whatever, but I was that guy. The stories of inspiration, the way these people put themselves out there year after year after year on the show, impacted me on an emotional level, impacted me and inspired me in the moment, but it didn't turn into a lasting change. And that's the thing, like, I really want people to be challenged beyond being inspired, to take a step each and every day. And if they need daily inspiration, man, go to my text deal. Get the updates through the text messages. I'm going to be motivating you throughout the way. But more than that, like, just be responsible for taking the right steps and be a motivation to others, be an inspiration to others, because you're actually following through on the way you are inspired.
That's awesome. Well, David, thank you for your time, man. God bless you.
And I look forward to talking to you in the future, man. So I got to run here, but and enjoy talking.